This seal looks mottled and old, seemingly unremarkably draped it over the school beauty's stomach. It actually turned her into a world-toppling succubus in an instant. This rusty cross pendant can even turn its wearer into an immortal vampire. And as for taboo objects that can defy fate like this, you have a whole room full of them, simply because you run a shop that collects the forbidden antique. As long as the guest can pay the price, they can obtain everything they desire here. Following Lawyer Zhao's command, a dozen security guards surrounded with sneers. Just as the leading bodyguard reached out, in an instant, a cold light sliced through the air. A brush passed, then a withdrawal of the hand. Xia Li didn't linger for a moment. She maintained her original pace and continued forward. Behind her, the guards seemed frozen for a second, then collapsed like harvested wheat. Lawyer Zhao slumped to the ground, a large wet patch instantly appearing on his crotch. Xia Li stopped in front of him, thick blood dripping from her fingertips. He pulled out a plain white handkerchief from his robe. Unhurriedly wiping them, she sent a message. She looked down at him, her gaze as if looking at a corpse. Tell those shareholders, you're arriving immediately. Good. I'll send it. Lawyer Zhao finished the message just as he looked up with a flattering smile. Xia Li's swept across his throat like a phantom. Xia Li turned around, casually tossing the blood-stained white handkerchief behind her. The handkerchief fell gently. It landed perfectly, covering Lawyer Zhao's face that died with eyes wide open. Inside the World Dream Group boardroom, 8 shareholders controlling the group's lifeline were leisurely dividing the spoils. That little tramp Xia Li is finally going to die, for good. A noblewoman swirled her wineglass, eyes filled with jealousy and the pleasure of revenge. Back when she was suppressing us. Did she ever imagine today World Dream should have been broken up long ago? A middle-aged fat man smoked a cigar, the swirling smoke filled with greed. Once that useless Xia Jiaming takes over how we want to play with her. Doesn't she still have to listen to us? The black suit was spotless. They were like a pack of vultures scavenging carrion, waiting for the dining knife named the contract to be brought in. Knock, knock, knock. The boardroom door was gently tapped. The shareholders all broke into smiles. Lawyer Zhao's work is always reliable. The door slowly opened. A gust of chilling wind blew into the room. The originally bright light seemed to sense something. A terrifying existence flickering frantically. The smiles on everyone's faces at the moment they saw who had entered instantly vanished into thin air. Xia Li stood at the door. The black suit was spotless. The crimson eyes in the darkness were like a life-claiming fire. Everyone! How could you not wait for the host when cutting the cake? Dead silent, the 8 shareholders who were just noisily dividing the inheritance were now as if frozen in ice. Xia Li walked toward the long table with a crisp rhythm. Every step felt like treading on their nerve endings. You actually stood up. That richly dressed noblewoman broke the silence. Her voice sharp with extreme terror. Xia Li stopped. The blood-red color loomed deep within her pupils. What did you just call me? After a brief moment of shock, the noblewoman, due to years of deep-seated hatred, her reason completely snapped. She slammed the table and stood up, screamed, I called you a tramp. So what? The era of World Dream has changed. What are you posing for? You're dying. Invalid. The shareholders originally bent spine. At this moment, because of Xia Li's death in medical terms, stiffened once again. Xia Li didn't waste words. A heavy knee slammed hard into the noblewoman's abdomen. The woman spat out a mouthful of fresh blood, her body slumping to the floor like a sack. A queen-like cold gaze swept across the room. Your audacity truly alarms me. The entire room was horrified. This explosive didn't look a bit like a terminally ill patient. President Xia, this is all a misunderstanding. The middle-aged fat man was the first to give in. It was Lawyer Zhao who sowed discord. We were only acting for the stability of the group. Yes, it's all for the group. The elder in the temp suit also lost his previous composure. Xia Li laughed, a laugh that made these old foxes feel chilled to the core. I once promised my father that I would make the shareholders of World Dream prosper. Before, I couldn't do it, but because human hearts are unpredictable now, I have a way. The next second, the boardroom lights flickered crazily. Behind Saili, a pair of massive black wings suddenly spread out. Both eyes turned into crimson abyss. 8 drops of essence blood shot out from her fingertips like arrows, precisely sinking into the foreheads of these 8 people. My head? Hell, it hurt so much. Sharp screams echoed throughout the room. These social elites and powerful men were now rolling on the ground without any dignity. Under the baptism of the essence blood, their bodies rapidly transformed. Fangs pierced through their lips. Fingernails became as sharp as knives, a morbid thirst for fresh blood. Instantly drowning out their reason, Xia Li sat back in her chair, crossing her long legs, looking at these subordinates who had already become vampire science. Her tone was indifferent. From today onward, should you call me? An absolute pressure originating from deep within the bloodline. The old man looked at the long trail of blood on the ground. Even a single thought of resistance. The 8 shareholders knelt on the ground. Mud. Just then, the boardroom door was pushed open again. Red-haired youth Xia Kaming shook the wine bottle. He face full of expectation. Isn't she dead yet? Finish signing quickly, so I can go back. Before he finished speaking, he froze, those senior gentlemen in his eyes, just like a starving beast, staring at him with eyes glowing red. Sis, save me! What are these monsters? The old man looked at the long trail of blood on the ground. Xia Li slowly closed her eyes. A smile of relief hung on the corner of the lip. failing to achieve immortality. The Xia family. There is no need for further descendants. These words were arrogant and domineering. She shattered all of Xia Qiming's hopes. Amidst a lifelong scream of despair, 8 black shadows instantly submerged Xia. The next morning, Handafu Street, Nanhahai, an elderly scavenger who woke up early, witnessed a ghostly scene he would never forget for the rest of his life. The realization: he saw a man wearing a security uniform, with a foolish, lecherous grin on his face, dragging bodies like dead pigs, dragging 2 withered corpses into the shadows. The old man looked at the long trail of blood on the ground, and let out a scream that pierced the dawn. Police sirens cut through the following daybreak. The area was cordoned off, crowded with pale-faced onlookers. The tragic state, even experienced constables couldn't help but walk away. Ooh, corpses in security uniforms had turned into withered mummies. And as for the culprit who dragged the bodies, also died on the spot. He was gaunt, and yet before he died, he maintained a look, an extremely sinister smile, as if he had just experienced some kind of fatal pleasure. Criminal Captain Investigation and his apprentice Li Mingyu arrived at the scene. Li Minggu took only one look, then rushed to the back of the car and vomited violently. Boss, the first 2 victims, blood is completely drained. Li reported from the ground, his expression looking peculiar. As for the one who dragged the bodies, the forensic doctor said he died of exhaustion while dragging 2 withered corpses. The brain was actually secreting dopamine like crazy. He realized this case was not simple, casually tossing the report to Li Ming. I have to stay at the scene. First, go to that ruined temple in the western suburbs. Those 8 disappearance cases. See if you can find any clues. Inside the antique shop, Kim Mijing pushed the door and entered. She walked quickly in front of you. Appearing slightly, she hurriedly said, Master, news has come from Xia Li. A suspected wild taboo object was discovered in the... You set down your teacup, signaling her to continue. After Xia Li regained control of the group, using her network to investigate, Kim Mijing whispered, there is a ruined temple in the western suburbs, where disappearances have been occurring frequently lately. All technical methods used by the Security Bureau have failed there. The last traces left by the missing persons, they all point to that temple. In private, everyone is either saying there is a man-eating monster there, or it's a cosmic black hole. Your eyes flickered slightly, vanishing into thin air. And technological means are ineffective. This is indeed a sign of a taboo object awakening. Only, you looked up outside the window in the days to come. The sky over Nanhai was perfect. Without rain, you could not leave the antique shop. If only we could make artificial rain. Kim Mijing muttered softly. You tapped the table gently. We can make it rain. Under Kim Mijing's stunned and admiring gaze, you stood up and walked toward the back hall. You strolled between the densely packed shelves. Every taboo object here had a strict numerical grade. Sequence number 0. They would all be classified into this sequence. Death, Sif. The cane's reflection is also among them. It was a gray pearl stored in Lin Hao's cabinet.